Yes, welcome back to Lords, where New Zealand are practicing for the first time ahead of the first test against England on Thursday. Michael Atherton's here too. Michael, New Zealand are World Test champions, but what form do they arrive here in?
Well, they've just been turned over by County 11, so you could argue that one or two of their players are a little bit underdone. It's the start of an English summer for them. You'd expect them to get stronger as they go through the series. As you say, World Test champions, a lot of top-class players. Kane Williamson, one of the great players of the modern age, but a bit short of runs. Bolt Southey, top-class new ball attack, even though Trent Bolt might not play because he's just come back from the IPL. So there's a lot of star quality around New Zealand, a very popular side in these parts. People looking forward to watching them here again.
If Bolt doesn't play, how big a loss is that for them? They do have a strong attack, but that will help England, won't it?
Well, he's a top-class player, left-arm swing bowler, always useful to have at Lords because you have that advantage of slope and, you can choose the ends that you want the bowlers to bowl. But they have good backup as well, the likes of Matt. We'll see what balance they go with, but Matt Henry, Neil Wagner, Tim Southey, Kyle Jamieson, they've got a lot of top-class seam options there as well. So it will be a challenge for whichever attack they put out onto the park for a top order in England's case that is a little bit inexperienced.
There's a bit of a Kiwi feel to this test and the build-up. We saw Brendon McCullum practicing with England yesterday for the first time. What have you made of what he said on Friday when he spoke to the media, and also just his approach in terms of what he can do for this test team in such a short space of time?
I think for him it's just a case of taking a look, really. This side is not materially different to the side that went to the Caribbean, albeit with Broad and Anderson back. So it's not as though he's come in and said, right, we've got to just rip it all up and start again, because he doesn't really know enough about English cricket yet. It'll take him a while to get his feet under the table, to get a sense of the players who are around the squad right now, and also those who are waiting in the wings. So you wouldn't expect to see dramatic changes initially, but there might be a bit more clarity of direction from the top. Obviously, you'd expect an England side led by Stokes and McCullum to play a certain way. And usually teams get an initial uplift. When there's a change of management, captain, coach, whatever, there's often an automatic uplift in terms of performance.
We've heard a lot about positivity, a style of Test cricket, fear-free cricket, if you like. Is that an oversimplification of England's problems, though?
Well, it's an oversimplification of how to play Test cricket, which is a demanding game over 5 days. The conditions change. You have to change your approach. I think everybody's hoping that England can just play smart, effective, and ultimately winning cricket. And there will be times when you need to take the game on and put your foot down and go after the opposition. And there'll be times when you're on the back foot a little bit and you have to grind it out and tough it out. That is the beauty of a 5-day game. The situations in front of you change from day to day, and they demand that you change as well and that you adapt and that you're smart enough to do that. And Brendon McCullum was a brilliant cricketer, and he was of a type. He was on the aggressive side, both as a captain and a player, but he was also somebody who could play the long game as well. He's a very smart and effective cricketer, and I think that's what he'll be hoping for from his team above all.
And how big a series is this for England's top order? Alex Lees, Zach Crawley and Ollie Pope batting at 3 for the first time.
Yeah, that's the first big call that this new management have made, really, giving Pope the opportunity at 3. He's had a difficult year, starting with actually when New Zealand came to England about a year ago. I think only 60-odd runs in the Ashes, was dropped halfway through that. He's never batted at 3 before for Surrey in a first-class game, so there's an element of risk there. I firmly believe he's good enough to do it. I think he's a fine young player. I think he got in a bit of a muddle technique-wise. If you looked at his 2 dismissals in Hobart at the end of the Ashes, nicking off to a wide ball, getting bowled behind his legs, they were just symptomatic of a young player who was in a bit of a trough, was tinkering with his game. And I think what you've seen at the start of this season, he's just gone almost back to basics, and he's kept things quite simple. The runs have flowed again. He's averaging almost 70 for Surrey. So it's a huge opportunity for him. And for Lees and Crawley as well at the top. Alex Lees was a bit anonymous in the winter in the Caribbean, and Zach Crawley's shown glimpses of his talent but needs to be far more consistent.